Saturday morning, just emptied the van after surfing yesterday. I should have done it, but just lost 20 minutes, so I'm late. I'm on my way across the country to a place called, actually you don't need to know where it is, and to pick up a new cab. This was sort of a deal from an operator that a friend of mine found, and he has this cab, and my friend can't make it. It's late notice, unfortunately, so I'm just going there on my own and to pick up that cab. And what I thought it was advertised as a Rad Mobile cabinet. It's not a Rad Mobile cab, and I suspect it's an old Sega Thunderblade cabinet that has been converted to a Rad Mobile, which would be great because I love Thunderblade. It's one of my wanted cabs, really. So something else, probably gonna have to move out of the arcade place there. Probably Kung Fu Master, because that's a conversion. We'll see. Anyway, so for now I'm heading over there to pick up that cab and see what the deal is. It's a warehouse. He's a former arcade operator. He still deals with the Conamp stuff, but no more arcade machines. So let's see what else he has, and I'm curious, very excited actually, just to inspect a new warehouse full of hopefully stuff. We'll see. Okay, come on, gears, work with me. Old van, hopefully it makes it there. Let's go. Beautiful day. All right, that's the cab. So I think this was an Outrun Turbo. And there's the board, which is car game. He said it's a World Cup, but I don't know. A World Tour. It's on there. It's just been converted, and okay, and there's a spare monitor for it, which is not the monitor that came with it, but we'll make that work. There's a few other bits. Oh, that was a cocktail table.
That's an old cocktail table.
Well, I got the cab. The fellow was nice enough to let me film a little bit of the place, as you can see, and that's really all he had. The rest is just poker, gambling machines, and that kind of stuff. He did have a Sega Rally. I don't want to go near that game or those cabs at all, and a poker table, but he wants to keep those anyway. The monitor. Well, he gave me the monitor was in there with the chassis, but it doesn't work. He gave me one that works, which is a Wells Gardner. It's the different monitor, but if it works, I might just try that in while I repair the other one, and then move back the original one once it's repaired. It's a Hunter X 900, as should be in those cabs from factory, but I mean, monitor is a monitor anyway, and this one doesn't need actually an isolating transformer. Interesting, the cab was so it looks like an Outrun Turbo cab. I think that's pretty much what it is. However, the licensing on it says, now there's a sticker on the official licensing, so I'm not sure exactly. It says it's indeed Rad Mobile. That's what the board was in, and that's what the cab inside is sort of wired for. So well, it's weird anyway. So, but he gave me the Rad Mobile board, which he said works as well. I have a turbo, I have an Outrun board anyway for it. But so I'm gonna put everything that was in there back in at some point and just run it as a Rad Mobile. It has the Rad Mobile dashboard. I was not aware of any Rad Mobile mini or cabaret cabinets, and I've actually looked online. I couldn't see any pictures. I'll have to do some research. The official Sega tags does say it's Rad Mobile, but so I don't know. I'm very curious. I've never heard of these cabs being used for Rad Mobile. Maybe it was a repurposed that factory for limited series or something like that. It's interesting. Anyway, I need to go back. It's going to be another 2.5 hours and look at that cab in more detail. So let's go back. Alright, I'm back. It was a long drive. It was a lot more tedious than I anticipated because it was just raining non-stop. I'm back here. It's lovely and sunny now, or at least dry. It doesn't seem to have rained, but there was torrential downpours on the way, and we're crawling like to 50 miles per hour on the motorway. So it just, yeah, that was tedious and annoying or tiresome. But anyway, but it was worth it. The cab is here. And it's a bit of a mystery, this cab. Let me show you. Let me flip this camera. Man, I had to redo this segment a few times. So this is the cab that I got from over there. I was able to film the place slightly. He had a poker cocktail, or a cocktail table, an old Taito cocktail table that had been converted to a poker. That wasn't for sale. He wanted to convert it himself back to a dedicated game. I'll be honest, I can't see that happen. The guy is too much on his plate, but you know, such is the way very often. So so we'll see down the line, maybe he wants to move it. So this looked like, well, initially I thought this was a Thunderblade cabinet because all of this stuff here, this marquee is from Thunderblade. You can see the altimeters, radar, the jet nozzle thing. It's the marquee from Thunderblade. But it looked like something like the Turbo Outrun. A cabaret cab. There was a sit-down version and a cabaret cab, the mini or the economy cab, which was exactly this form factor, exact same shape and all that, except for the wheel here and the fact that there was no throttle, gear throttle. So I assumed that's what it was, and it had been converted to Rad Mobile in this case. The PCB is over there. However, looking on the internet and asking around, it looks like there was a version of Rad Mobile. This is vastly undocumented. I couldn't find any information even on promotional flyers, but there's reports of people seeing Rad Mobile in these cabs, and these cabs only, plus the standard upright cabinets. But there's instances of people seeing them, and there was one other owner of a similar cab that had a different marquee and different artwork, but I mean the layout was exactly the same, running Rad Mobile. And if you look here on this bezel or a monitor insert, it does say the license is for Rad Mobile. Looking inside, so this is the cabinet here, and this is the filter board for Rad Mobile. Looking inside, the wiring is actually rather tidy, and it looks original. And indeed, it is wired for Rad Mobile. So I'm actually very, very curious about this cab. So I started inquiring, and indeed, it seems to be that this is a rather uncommon, rare cab that was manufactured in the UK for Rad Mobile, and I think only in the UK. I could be wrong about that, but I think that was the only place that manufactured Rad Mobile in these cabinets, which are essentially Turbo Outrun cabinets. So this is factory, which is really interesting, probably except the bezel here. So the question now is what to do. So let's just inspect the cab first. Let's just do that because this cab is rough. You can see the bottom here has been disappeared essentially. And here, which is interesting, this is chipboard on one side, and it looks like here is plywood that's been added to this cab, again at factory, and reinforced with a metal bar. So I'll have to find a way to first redo this section, the other side, and make it a part of the entire cab as opposed to having reinforcement. Maybe cutting like a piece of wood here and have it like extend from here into here, so it solidifies the whole thing. Obviously filthy, dirty. We'll have to probably redo those. The metal pedals are, pedals are this guy is probably missing a spring at the back. Hopefully it's just loose and broken. If not, I'll have to find a source, or maybe the broken one is in there. We'll see. Oh, okay, there's no coin acceptor, but I won't be putting a coin acceptor. This is oh, license number. I'll have to check if the same as the back. Did I actually see something there? Yeah, 360666. 360666. Okay. What have we here? I don't know what that is. Oh, are these caps for speakers? Possibly. There's an old coin. Oh, this is an old Irish coin before we moved to the euro. 20p from probably 90. Where is it? 96. Cool. This is original. Oh, there you go. Spring that's been, oh, it's broken. Maybe I can salvage this, just redo the loop at the end somehow. If not, I'll see if I can find a replacement. So that's that. Obviously new T-molding. Artwork is, God, beyond salvaging here. Oh, it's completely peeled off. Shame. I might see if I can actually just take it out cleanly and take a picture of that for maybe repro purposes at some point, just down the line. Yeah, we'll see. Okay. What else? We need a bezel. We need a bezel here, new bezel, other than this one. Marquee. The speaker. Oh, speaker caps. There you go. Yeah, that's where the speaker caps were. I'm assuming that's what they are. New neon fitting, or new neon. And the back is okay. Serial number 360666. Fair enough. Yeah, so inside I have the monitors to 900 Hantarex, and it's dirty, so it's actually already been cleaned. And I think I have a spare one that works. And the guy gave me a spare monitor, but it's actually a VGA monitor. It won't fit here. But I think I have a spare 900 that works. I'll have to double check. I might put that in and fix the other one in separate video. Inside seems to be all there, just needs a clean. All the wiring is there. Yeah, there you go. It's missing the spring over there for the other pedal. Have we anything there? No. So we'll have to find a way to fix that. Probably need to take out the power supply, just check everything is okay. The switcher probably needs to be replaced. I see something is disconnected here, but that's okay. What's that? Oh, it's a fuse bit. This is probably fuse switch here. Yeah, fuse. So we'll have to check the fuses. So what to do? I mean, Rad Mobile is not really a game I'm interested in. I don't think it's a really good game by any mean, really. So I did actually buy this thinking this was a turbo outrun, which it is in a way. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this to turbo outrun, and I'm going to try and do this. The only trick is going to be finding the wiring for this, or changing the wiring inside the cab. No, actually I don't need to do this. I can actually just plug everything in the cab here and get connectors and make a small adapter from here. So I don't need to change anything in the cab. Oh yeah, that's great news. Actually, that's what I'm going to do. Just leave it as is inside and just use this interface to make an adapter for an actual turbo outrun or outrun board. There you go. So the only real thing I need to change is the front panel. The steering wheel is in the middle here. On turbo outrun, it's actually slightly to the left, and here is the throttle. So I'm going to try and find source to throttle. I think you can get repro ones done by Suzo app, and move this thing over here. That might mean some filler and some destructive stuff happening to some extent. I might have to drill a new hole, patch these, which is fine. We can undo the patch, but drilling new holes is going to be I think what I have to do. Chances of finding a new or an old dashboard for a turbo Outrun are slim. These things are gold dust, and yeah, I think that's what we're gonna have to do. And then new artwork, just general clean. Okay, this is gonna be a whole new project, and I expected it to be a big project. It's turned into an even bigger project, because we'll need to do an adapter and wiring and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, it's time to start on this cab, the turbo, or should I say Rad Mobile cab has been converted into a turbo Outrun. So I've pretty much stripped everything. The board was out anyway, but I've removed the control panel, which is over there. I've removed the monitor, which is over there. I have the chassis now on my bench. I'll fix it at some point. I do have a spare chassis, however, that I pretty sure works. So that should save me at least some time to get something going. And I've ordered a few parts. So one of them, well, I was lucky to find it. These things are hard to find, and I found one seller on eBay that had one of those. Now I know Suzo app makes them, but they didn't have any available in Europe, and to ship, because they only ship with couriers, it was going to cost like twice as much as this guy, like over 100 and what was it, 140 something just to ship, plus the price of the part, which was about 90, plus then tax and all that kind of stuff. So it was just going to be a ridiculous price for this. Luckily I found one seller at the time in the US. I bought it, and I don't think I got hit by tax. I think this one slipped through, so yeah. And that ended up with being, I think, $80 or something like that. So pretty good. I ordered a new spring for this guy, for the pedal assembly, which, by the way, yeah, it's all disassembled. I started polishing this stuff. You can see the chrome is, or is it chrome? Are they chrome? It's fairly pitted, but I've sanded and polished it as much as I could. It was fairly rusted, and the rust hasn't come back. So I'm wondering, because you know this one is fine, bar my greasy fingers, but or was it just stainless? I don't know. This looks like there's a layer of chrome, wasn't it? But yeah, so I mean, I could send them to get them re-chromed. The closest thing to me is, I think, the UK. I think you can get that done in the UK. There's nobody in Ireland doing it. Again, that's going to be expense to send the part, send it back. I'm going to get hit by taxes now. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it like that. Battle marks, as I've said before, don't really bother me too much. I'm not looking for a pristine... something clean, but and free of rust, but doesn't have to be pristine as long as it works just fine. So that's fine. This works well. I've removed this entire piece as well, because I need to just make some new stuff. You can see here those brackets were here. I don't know if that's I can see that it's been fixed. Let me start over. I can see that it's been fixed here and here. Clearly there's a repair done here. So I might have to remove all that and redo it. I can see holes for casters. Again, more fixes that were done, kind of slapped together by whoever was running the cab. Done that, not the cleanest job, but I can't blame them. You know, they wanted these things to be back in service as quickly as possible. So I'm gonna have to think about this and remaking, essentially making a template for this guy, and making two of them, maybe just cut this guy here. I'm not sure I'm gonna do this. I think I'm gonna have to just take a bigger chunk of this section and just have it as reinforcement. There's also a piece of metal on those Turbo Outrun and Outrun cabs, and I found one of those metal brackets from an Outrun one, so that's on the way as well. So luckily that'll do the job, and so that might solve our problem. But yeah, it's interesting because this was chipboard, like OBF or whatever this is called, and this is actually plywood. So I don't think this was, well, clearly this was a fix, because I don't see any. I mean, this is a whole piece, so this is factory or stock or whatever. So this was indeed a driver cab, not a Thunderblade, and they must have fixed it somehow at some point. Because if I look here, the way it extends into more of that chipboard stuff, but here is all. So I think this was already a first fix, and my God, did they go crazy with the with the nails and holes and everything. So we're going to redo all that, just take our time doing it, and I think the metal is going to help reinforce. What I might have to do is maybe just gouge a piece here so that I can like slot the piece of wood in. So it I don't know. I'm going to have to think about this. Regardless, I'm going to redo this piece. So the mat here is peeling off. I'm not sure if it's supposed to, like here it looks all red. So was it supposed to be red? I think it's black on the Outrun, but I wouldn't mind the red. It peeled off right away, so it's actually intact. It probably just needs a clean. So I'm going to redo this piece of wood as well, because that's not even chipboard, that's like particle board. That's even worse than that. It's just prone to swelling, and you don't want something on the ground where you'll probably have more dampness. Although I hope I don't have any dampness in my room, but you don't want something like that, like lowest to the ground, really. So I'm going to redo that with plywood, the same plywood I'll do this with, and yeah. Actually, I'm just thinking out loud now. Once this is, oh no, because this is all part of. This is going to be weird actually to, because this actually wasn't screwed in. This guy, he was actually just resting. This bonded it to this part. Pretty much. There was a few screws as well going in. I'm not sure if these are stock, just to grab into that piece. God, what a mess this thing was. We'll get it back though. We'll get it back. Yeah, so I think woodwork is going to be the first job. Oh yeah, and here at the bottom they had two of these guys just running like that, just to sort of solidify, but it also helped protect the cab from sliding down and that kind of stuff. So I might just keep those and put some felt underneath as well to help the cab move a bit better. But yeah, I think I might put those back at some point. What else did I get? Oh yeah, I got some, so I got the new springs, and I got some new old stock control panel for Turbo Outrun. So, and I think they sent me two by mistake. I'm not going to complain, I could do with spare anyway, but oh, come on. Yes indeed, they sent me two. There's one, and it's gonna, oh, here it is. What, is there another one here? Oh no, that's just the peel. Yeah, fair enough. So they sent me to a new old stock control panel. Look, don't say no to new old stock stuff. I'm not sure. Should I contact them? Just tell them that they made a mistake. Maybe I'll do that. Just for the sake of decency. But other than that, I mean, yeah, these are cool. So this goes on the panel here, sort of in this position, and the gear shifter is somewhere here. So we're going to have to do some work as well, metal work on the control panel. So the last bit I really need to get is a marquee, obviously, and some art for everything, but I can do that last. I'm not too worried about that. So I think the first job, I've already put the new spring on the accelerator pedal here. The first job is just going to be to do the woodwork here and be done with that. I think that's the only bit of work. Oh, let's see. Oh no, there's some repairs done here as well. Yeah, this is not this cab's first dance. Okay, let's get to work. Speaking of not its first dance, this is original spring for the pedal here. I got two just in case. This was the one that was in here, so it sheared off right here, and I thought this was the way the spring was, but I think somebody tried to fix this because it looks like it, come on, it looks like it sheared off here as well. Interesting. So yeah, I'm gonna keep that just in case as a spare, or will I bother? I mean, I could actually just try, maybe when I'm done with this cab, just try to bend the back here and try to sort of make a new one out of this one. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to save it for now, and let's get to woodwork. Man, so okay, update. I've cleaned this thing as best as I could. I've redone the new piece of wood. I've used some solid plywood, and I've redone an entire piece of wood that I now need to trim slightly because I must have made a mistake. It's not quite the size, so I just need to trim it here. That's fine. Oh, actually, I know why, because there's an angle which I actually managed to do here, but I didn't do it here. It actually should be angled like that. But no matter, as RMC would say.
No matter. First thing we need to know about these.
I hesitated for the longest time what to do with this. I know it's scuffed. I know it's not in the most pristine condition, but I'm gonna keep it. You can find a repro of this, but it's not red. By the way, I before I continue, this was black and it had been sprayed black. So I'm assuming the original was red because, I mean, look at that. It was actually red under this, the trimming that goes over here is red under here, and over here was all black. And you can see traces of just black that just won't go. I use a mix of paint remover and just elbow grease just to remove as much as I can, and that's as best as I've managed. I don't want to start damaging the vinyl too much. I'm assuming it's vinyl, so I've glued it back on. I think I'm going to keep it. Maybe down the line I'll replace it. You can find repro stuff, like rows of repro stuff of that stuff, but it's actually grey, and I do like the fact that this one is red. I don't know why. It's it will pop on this cab, so that's that. I'm going to keep it like that original with a lot of battle marks, but I'm okay with battle marks as I've stated before. I've redone these kind of angly brackets, so I've made them longer. I should actually trim them. Where is it? The final size would be here, somewhere here, like that. But they're supposed to go here, and yeah. So there's one thing I need to actually double check. So I'm suspecting this cab was repaired heavily. You'll see what I mean. Oh yeah, and here, God, sorry about all the shaking. There was this bar that is used as just a prop for the footrest. I'm going to remake a long one that actually goes all the way here and here, so we can secure it from pretty much everywhere. I can see traces of just well, epoxy bondo type of stuff, which and here as well. So this has been heavily repaired. Before I continue, this was going to be my point. This goes here, and there was actually, the screws were in so far that there was actually just a gap here. So I'm going to use a piece of wood just to recreate that gap, and everything is solid. And the more I was looking at this, I'm looking here, there's repairs here, and then I see all these screws here, and this guy is barely just hanging on. It just wants to pop. So it's chipboard. It's pretty damaged. I would need to repair it here. It's slightly bent, and you know, this is not great wood, especially for something that's on the ground, especially for something that had obviously casters here and there. So I'm going to take this off and make a new piece. Make it of plywood. I have a large sheet of plywood. It's outside. It's dark now, but I'm going to make a new piece for that as well, and just be done with the whole thing. Like, so that way it'll be solid. I won't need, because you know, I'd need to do a lot of work on this anyway. Might as well redo a piece and have something that's actually better and more solid. And that way I will glue it, put some screws as well, fill it with a filler. That way I can even everything out, and I know it'll be nice and solid. So yeah, I think that's the road I'm gonna take for this guy. So tomorrow, perhaps. Yeah, I thought I'd be happy with these guys. These are way too long, by the way. I know they're way too long. It's just I wanted to make sure that it would actually reach. Oh, and I got these actually from an original Outrun cab. It's not the right size. Normally these would go, well, it's not the right size. It's for a full upright, but that's all I could find. So I'm going to use these and use them as a reinforcement. They're supposed to go all the way, but I'm going to use them as reinforcement between the original cab and this guy. And by the way, this is how all the Outrun cabs are. Most of them, if not all, would have those reinforcement, because this is a weak part of the cab, really. Especially when you apply your feet and your entire body weight. So you need something to keep it bonded to the main cab, which I thought it was, and then I realized that a lot of them have suffered damage. It looks like they were actually part of the same sheet at some point, but as you can see, it's quite fragile. So most cabs I've seen have these reinforcements. So I got a pair of these, and I'm not sure if I showed that the last segment, but I did find a new spring for this guy. So now this pedal is all lovely and working. It's actually lovely bounce off it. So it's great. This pedal is gonna go here, and I need to source more screws. I put, you know, this one I can salvage. I managed to salvage one, and this guy, but I'm using spares from where did I get these? I got these from I think it was part of the Crazy Taxi or the Jumbo Safari haul. There was a whole box of Sega, well, whole box, I mean, this is what was there, of Sega screws and bits and things like that are always handy to have. So I took these, including feet for Naomi cab. Yeah, but there's a whole whole handful of these bits, so I grabbed them as well. So it's handy to have. So yeah, tomorrow, trim that guy, new piece, and then we might start. Well, I'm gonna have to do some fixing anyway. So trim that guy, new piece here, put that in place, and then see how much time we have for anything else. But yeah, that's the good news. It started. It's on the way. Oh, what have I done? So that's the bottom removed, and yeah, I'm glad I did it. A lot of it was just it was just crumbling, collapsing. That bottom just wasn't secure, really. So I took out the previous repairs. What happened to this cab that it required that much repair and bondo? But yeah, look at that. So I need to think here how I'm going to approach this. I think I'm going to pour first a small layer of liquid, very runny resin that'll soak into the wood, just to actually rebond that bit of wood that is damaged here, here, and here. We got some similar stuff happening on the other side, and yeah, it's not too bad on this side, but we'll have to redo, like flush this out, cut this flush, and then get it ready for the new pieces. I'm actually tempted to redo these pieces and actually just bring them in here, but actually, is there any point? Because ultimately we're just, although it would bond this piece further into the cab. Is there any benefit? Would it provide? Yeah, I suppose it would provide some additional strength. Yeah, I might do that then. I might do that and then put little bars on the inside just to keep everything together. And I suppose I could do that here as well. Yeah, I think that might be. Sorry, I'm just thinking out loud here, but that might be the way to go. Instead of just fixing this, flushing it, and then somehow putting this leg onto here, I might be better off just redoing the entire piece here with an added whatever, how many inches or bits of wood, like what is that, 4 or 5 inches, and on top and here, and just to provide additional key to the whole assembly. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, more work. Sometimes that's just the way it is. I mean, you think you've one job to do, and as you take things apart and redo them, you realize there's more to it. Sometimes, that cab probably would have lasted another, 5 years and 10 years somewhere. But if I'm going to spend that amount of time redoing this area in the bottom, I might as well just do it properly and redo the whole thing here. So this bottom is no good. I'm gonna wait actually to recut one side. I might make it slightly longer so it overlaps with this guy a bit better. By the way, I've trimmed here nice and flush to the vinyl, so it'll be ready. And yeah, let's recut two of these guys and see how much I can afford to take in each direction here. All right, step one in this one. So I cut out 4 by 4 inches, and I drill holes and into the wood here and put some, what's the word I'm looking for? Is it dowels? Something like that. Same here. They're going this way, and there was because of the way it's got, there was a gap, so I was just filling that with bits of wood and wood glue. It's just about flush here, so it should be okay. But the wood thickness is slightly different, and I thought they were the same. They're not. So once this is done, I will use some fiberglass and liquid resin just to I'll make a little edge, and I'll pour some just to even out the gap, and then we can sand and then use epoxy filler for the rest. But yeah, so this is taking shape. I've put just a reinforcement bar here. It's being glued right now, so I'm doing all that. I'll do the other side, this guy on the other side, before I tackle the repair work here. So I'm gonna make sure that it's nice and sound. And for this guy, I mean, I'm looking at it, I'm gonna use some probably some liquid resin again, because I like the way it just it seeps into this wood. It's just quite porous, so it'll make a nice bond. And then maybe just use some filler on top of that with this part to sand. So I'll do the same thing here. I'll just cut out 4 by 4. I have the piece here already, and then use just a piece of wood here, an extra piece of wood, just to reinforce the whole thing. This is the coin box, and The advantage here is that it's not in the way. I might actually just extend that all the way here, but this will provide already some support, and that way I can actually just make a new bottom piece and slot that in there. We'll glue that as well, but I'm going to use some screws into here and here, and it'll be nice and sturdy. And also, I will extend the bottom. I think it went as far as here or something like that. I'll extend it just a tiny bit more to pretty much the edge. I have this guy here that overlaps and protects the edge. So just going to make sure that it doesn't actually extend beyond that. You know, that we have some room. But yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. Man, it's really hot today. It's probably 28 inland, which is unusual for Ireland, and this is the weather we're going to get for the week. So I'm done for today. Let that dry. Do the other piece tomorrow, maybe, and continue like that. And hopefully we'll have our bottom and our cab work all done. We can put it back upright and start worrying about the mechanical electrical part, and then the actual monitor, see if that works, and find a board, find a new see if that board that works there, and then work on making a harness, and then after that maybe find a board. I think somebody's making a Raspberry Pi emulator, but that actually plugs into a cab directly, so that might be the solution to go with in the future, because boards are just too expensive, and prone to breaking. And with Mark Hazeman at the moment out of commission because he's got a problem with his hand, people who can repair Outrun boards are very few. I suppose I could give it a shot, but stuff like that, I'd rather send it to somebody who knows the hardware pretty well and is not going to spend too much time wondering what the issue is. Anyway. All right, this is the final little bits of wood here just being clamped into place. So I've decided to go all around the cab so I can put the bottom and it'll be resting on that. So it's glued, and I'll have a couple of 3 screws for each, maybe 4 for this one, just to make sure it's solid. It also provides just additional support for this guy. So here there's bits of wood. What's the name? Dados, something like that, and going here, and there's some going here as well as screws. So this thing isn't going to go anywhere. It feels solid. I'm putting the last piece here that actually acts as a rest for the whole foot piece, but we'll worry about that afterwards. But so I'm going to let this dry overnight, and we'll be able to put the bottom in place, which I've now cut to size. So yeah, things are happening and progressing. It's going to be interesting. I did my best to have this flush and straight using just a square edge, but it's going to be interesting to see if it is actually just totally flush with the rest of the cab. I think it is. Yeah, it looks like it is. Anyway, so there's a lot of clamps right now. Wait overnight, and then we'll be able to put the bottom and the rest, and then we can do all these small cosmetics. I started filling some of the holes here with some wood glue mix, wood glue, and little bits of wood. I'll do that on the other side, but well, I'll do this side first, and then move on to the other side. But let's get our bottom back. All right, we got one side just drying. I'm gonna do multiple sanding passes and just repainting, sanding, repainting, just to make sure there's a nice smooth transition. Everything is sort of flush, and we don't get too many bumps and lumps and bits. But it's okay so far. Visually, I'm not too worried. There's going to be a metal here bracket just holding this together. Anyway, it's quite solid as it is. I mean, it probably doesn't need that, but it just, I have them, so I might as well put them in. And these are from I said before, these are from an Outrun. I managed to source pictures of another rad mobile cab that's actually just gone for sale. And interestingly, it has two brackets. It has the long one, just a rail running all the way, and it has a smaller one here just to connect stuff. I think the Outrun one is going to look better, but yeah. So we have a new bottom, and yeah, it just got pretty much to fit the because this goes over here, just the protector metal like that, and I had to just trim some of the lamination on the plywood so it would actually just fit just right. And I did find pretty much an exact match for that mat, because if someone bothering me once, you know, everything was back in, it was actually just there's a bit too many bumps and lumps, and actually now I just spray painted it with some acrylic, and it does look okay. So hey Fiona, come out. So it does look okay now. So I'm gonna continue standing here. We'll flip the cab over and we'll do the other side. Ah! All right, folks, that's it. The last little spots are still drying. It's actually dry to the hand. It's just it's still drying. Some glossy in parts and not so much in others. But it's just it's pretty much as smooth as I could get it and blended into the existing cab. To be honest, I can't even see where that is. It here? I see little trace here, but yeah, that's not a bad job for me, at least, of reconstructing a part. So there's one job left on this side, which is cut the groove for the T-molding here. But I'm gonna do that once both sides are done. So I'm gonna flip this cab over, and then I'll cut the groove at the end. The reason is my actual router is gone, and I have a bit for it, but I need to buy a new one. So that's gonna take first a while to arrive, and I wasn't planning on, you know, buying something like that this month. So I'll see. But yeah, it'll get done. I'll get a new one at some point. So it's gonna take me another, I'd say, week to do the other side anyway. So we've plenty of time. This section is here. I've had to just recut or take away some of the lamination of this bit here, because I wanted this to be right and flush. I've also cut the ends here just so that it comes. Oops! Come on! It fits. I know it fits, and yeah, and so it'll be nice and flush here, and then we'll have the T-molding just creating some like height on this side. It's almost like a mil or two higher than the this plank. Same thing on this side. So all in all, I'm pretty happy. It's actually quite a. It took a while. It took a few coats, a lot of sanding, some wet sanding, and then and rinse and repeat. But yeah, so I'm happy. Time to start on the other side of this cab and fix this. So I wanted to show you. This is what I use here to actually fix some of the bigger holes. It's a mix of wood glue and wood chipping, and it's still drying. It takes about 2 days to dry properly, but once it's dry, it's just as solid as wood, and it does a better bond than a lot of fillers would. So once this is all dry, I will sand it flat down and then just use filler isopon type of stuff just to fill the holes. And it's handy just to build up some material as well on top of something else. So I sanded kind of roughly the wood here so that you get a better mechanical grip. And yeah, more layers, more sanding. But and then in the meantime, I'll see if I can order a better, well, a working router just to do the T-molding. So the T-molding will have to just actually go here and probably extend a little bit underneath here, somewhere there. The existing one probably actually went as far as here. And actually, yeah, no, the bracket actually just will secure that in the bottom in place as well. So I might just do that instead. Let me think. Because this is all flush. Oh no, I have the 2 bars, of course, as well, that actually help raise the cab a little bit off the ground. So that's grand. That's absolutely fine. So yeah, we'll have to, while the cab is in this position. Oh yeah, there was a fix here to fix. It was a previous fix they've done, and they didn't actually sand it down flush. So I actually did that. I'll have to go back and just make sure it's all nice and smooth and flat. But it was quite a bad job they'd done. Again, I can't blame them. You know, they just wanted to get this cab back in service as quickly as possible, so we could make money. Anyway, I'm actually off, so I'll come back tomorrow, sand that, and then apply a first coat of isopon filler. Oh yeah, by the way, some people were asking about the side art in the previous video, and whether did sand or the panel art did send me 2 of them, and whether there was because there was some damage here. It's just the paper. There's a paper you peel off that's damaged, but underneath I didn't see any trace of damage. So I don't think it's because of that, or maybe it is. Maybe actually they saw that and they were like, maybe we'll send in another one. So I don't know. I contacted them. I didn't get a reply. But at least I did, you know, send them. So yeah, I've 2 new old stock control panel art. Yeah, I'll probably, I don't know what I'll do with them. I know what I'll do with one anyway. We'll worry about that once all of this is done. I'm storing this here. I have the shifter here. I have a spare Sega wheel I found, but it's not for that type of cab. That's for I think a sit-down driver. It doesn't actually fit a Naomi, even this stuff here. Anyway, all right, this is what I was talking about. Just filling here with Bondo all the little gaps, so it just means I use a lot less. And what I've done, and I've done that on the other side, then I use red paint or any other color paint that's not black or white, something that's visible, you know. And I spray the area that I've patched with that, and then I sand it back down, and now it just exposes the where it needs a little bit more filler and stuff like that. So it's a handy way. I just lightly like sand in the grooves here, so it actually provides a better key, but then I can use that to know exactly where to put it, just extra filler. This area would be obviously in much needed that. It just helps me make things a bit more visible. So we'll do that last bit of sanding. It looks kind of smooth enough here, and then we'll be done for this side as well. All right, so that's the second side done. You can see there's some blemishes here, but what I was just focusing on was that sort of a transition here with the cab itself, and to get that smooth. Again, keep in mind, doesn't really matter. This will be somewhere here, and just providing extra structural strength to this section. But yeah, all in all, pretty happy with the result. I'm just gonna let that dry for another probably day. So I've ordered a new router, sorry, some T-molding, so I'll wait for all that to arrive. There is something I can do in the meantime, maybe, is to actually just respray, de-rust and respray this plate. This is the plate for the controls here. So we'll look after that, have that all nice and clean, ready to go back in. And then when the T-molding arrives, when the bit arrives, the router, we can actually redo the groove here, the T-molding groove, and apply the T-molding, and then we'll be almost done for cosmetics. We have this section here that I talked about. I sanded it before, flush. We might have to do another pass of just filler. Probably redo the groove here. There's this section here that I'm not entirely happy about, so I'll have to find a way here, because look at that. Look at that. Again, can't be mad at the op for doing a quick job that would get this cab on the floor as quickly as possible, you know. That's what they did. And they had to make money, so but here we have time, so we'll redo this as well. So I'll need to flip that on its side once more, and then we can focus on that section. Yeah, but at least I mean this is solid now. This is not going anywhere, and yeah, there's a small gap here, so I'm gonna have to use some filler for here as well, actually, and that's because this guy I probably cut it a little bit in a rush. And really what I should have done is put this in place, use the original as a rough template and see where there was gaps, but yeah, that's okay. Oh yeah, I need to fill all these as well, and we'll reapply the vinyl on top here. I used some spray glue, that didn't work, so I'm just going to use some wood glue and just clamp that in place with a piece on top for overnight, and hopefully that should bond everything properly. Okay, let's keep working. All right, so I cut the groove for the T-molding. This is the bottom part here, and I've just applied the T-molding here. Oops, go recover. Apply the T-molding here onto this side, and I've put the protective plate from Outrun that I've obviously cleaned a good bit. It was actually just filthy. I know it looks funky, but most of them, let me see if I can get higher. Most of the Outrun type cab would have some form of protection, and I haven't found anything consistent with those type of cabs. The only few photos of Rad Mobile that I could see have different type of just cover protection. Some of them are the Turbo Outrun one that actually go all the way. Actually, they changed on some Turbo Outruns as well. So I think we're just gonna have to do our best here, and be happy with that. The goal is actually just to provide some extra protection in the corner, you know, make it a bit more solid, and part of the cab just to protect this. So that's the goal, and I tell you what, this is not moving anywhere. So pretty happy. Oh yeah, did I show you in the last segment? I can't remember. This is the corner that I've just a repair. No, here. This is the corner I've repaired. T-molding fits nicely on both sides. Much happier with that than whatever big patch. You can still see if you go close enough. Actually, these are just sanding marks. Yeah, there you go. There's the old line. You really have. Do you know? We can see it on the phone for some reason, because I suppose it's not a stereo picture in that sense, but with the naked eye I'd be hard pressed to know exactly where this is. So good enough, happy with it, solid. Let's flip this and do the same thing on the other side, and then I will glue the red vinyl here onto this. I tried a few different type glues. I tried wood glue, spray glue. None of them stuck properly. I'm going to use wood glue, just a thin layer of wood glue that I'll apply with the a brush, and then I clamp this down overnight, and that should do it. All right, that's the other side done here. I got the T-molding everywhere, and now I'm just clamping the vinyl with an extra piece of paper. I just put some masking tape here just to prevent the glue from sticking to, you know, the glue that could seep over from just sticking to the wood. So I'll be able, hopefully, to remove that cleanly, and hopefully it'll stick the vinyl in place properly, because yeah, that thing is old and just didn't want to stick anymore. I started cleaning the panel here for the pedals, just first coat of paint to let it dry. So hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to put this cab back upright. For the first time really in a couple of months. It's been a slow progress doing this, but you know, redoing wood and just blending everything and just making sure everything is, I mean, yeah, it's taken a while. You want to take your time doing stuff like that and not rush it, but it's been worth it. Next, after that, we'll have to look at this guy. I started sort of this is the power supply, looking at what's going on. So we have a fuse here that is dead, and somebody MacGyvered the new fuse from it, but we'll have to replace that. I just checked the connections are all right. I was going to reuse this, but I don't think, even if it's working, these things are so cheap, you know, they're probably 40 quid or 50. It's probably best to just get a fresh, decent one and not have any issue. So I might just replace that altogether. I'm just going to give this the power amp for the audio, I believe. So I'm just going to clean that up, open it, but see if there's any bulging caps. Usually these things are pretty reliable, so hopefully they won't be too much of an issue. And check all the connections, that there's no broken cables. But I think once this is changed, I'll put new fuses, the thing be ready to fire up. I'll just give it a clean and we'll put it back in. I'll tidy the cabling as well. I've removed a lot of stuff just to see where everything was going. I've done some continuity tests already. I haven't really seen any issues that pops out, so we should be good with that. So hopefully by next week I should have, or well, by tomorrow I should have the cab upright, but we'll start putting things back together, and I'll be able to finally test that monitor chassis and test if the board works even, and then we'll decide what to do with this cab. Still haven't decided. I'm gonna leave it as a rad mobile. Those cabs are rare, very uncommon, really, but not that interesting and not that wanted. I think there's somebody at the moment of time of writing this that is trying to sell one, and there's no takers really, even though it's a Sega racer. So my preference would be to convert it to well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to convert it cosmetically anyway to a turbo Outrun. That's really the plan. The big question is when it comes to the control panel, because it's different. I'm going to salvage as much as I can. This control panel needs new art. I'm not sure anybody's doing repros of this art. I'm going to have maybe to check with Ollie at Arcade Art Shop, see if he has any first, and if he doesn't, maybe see with him if I can take good quality pictures to send him if he wants to make a repro. Problem with this is there's not that many cabs around. There's not many people who want one. So anyway, the big unknown with this control panel is I'm going to have to do some welding if I want to convert it to a turbo Outrun. There's going to be some sort of destructive changes required. Meaning I'm going to have to plug the hole where the wheel is here, just open a new one because it's slightly off-centered, and then open a hole for the gear shifter. So it's not so much the work is should I do it in the first place, you know. I think I've made up my mind that I will, but it's just I sort of feel bad. For what is essentially you know, the uniqueness of a rad mobile camera. There's not many of them. Anyway, that's for me to decide. It's my cab. I think that's what's going to happen. Yeah, but at least we'll do the first cosmetic changes with the side art and a new marquee with turbo Outrun and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, that's ahead for now. Let's see if that vinyl sticks properly. Finally, it's back upright, and we're done here with, well, we're done with that bottom. I just need to finish. I'm waiting for that plate to dry. I reassemble the pedal, all that. I made a new piece here, new whatever bottom resting piece for the pedal. The other one was just a bit too crumbly and gone. This should be somewhere here. So this actually bolts into the front assembly panel, and yeah, something like that. Something like that. Come on, there you go. Yeah, so I've put there was 2 pieces of wood that I put back underneath just to protect and lift the board cap slightly off the ground to prevent dampness here. Once it's in the arcade room, probably won't need it, but it doesn't hurt to have the wood slightly, or the main wood slightly off the ground in general. That's what you have, those legs typically. And yeah, so these were there. I don't have legs. I could order some, I suppose, but it works like that. It's just fine. I like the red, and I'm glad I used some spray paint on this. It actually looks really nice and almost new, almost brand new. It just hides all the scuff, but the rest is intact. It's pretty much all there. You can see some scuffs here that were just painted over. But actually, there's another one here. There's a few here and there, but you'd be hard pressed to find them by just looking up from the top. New T-molding, and obviously the sides, I think they work nicely like that. Yeah, I'm not entirely unhappy about it. Kind of wish it would go all the way, but it works like that. That's all I could find. Original protector plates from an Outrun upright, full size, you know, the full size upright. I did try and look for turbo Outrun and Outrun Mini covers. I haven't been able to source any, so these were the only ones I could find. Sometimes, you know, you just have to make do with what you find. So next I'm going to reassemble that pedal assembly and move on to the power supply. I already started looking at it. I'm going to move it back over there, and once the power supply is sorted, I think that'd be the end of this video, and then we'll move on to well, everything, the monitor and the board, and then we can look after the cosmetics last. Or maybe I'll get the cosmetics sorted first. It'll be cool to have that artwork here already while I'm working on the board and monitor part, if they need any work. All right, let's get back to work. So interestingly, I actually fired up the power supply as it was with the this switcher, or no, sorry, let me rephrase that. I powered the switcher on its own, and it was fine. It was actually fine. So it might, you know, die at some point, but look, I'm gonna use it now at least to test everything. I powered the thing, nothing happened, and I'm happy to say I've put the monitor back on. Let's switch this on. You can hear the hum, but we got well, one thing here is I put a light, new light, and the monitor is indeed working. I can hear the hum. I just need maybe to increase this guy a little bit. There you go. We got just at least retrace lines, so we got high voltage and that kind of stuff. Might need to tinker with the settings just to get a better picture, but I'm not gonna leave it on for too long like that. Not that it would do damage really, but so I think next I'm gonna try and plug the board and see if that board is at least booting and working. And that's really cool. That the monitor, well, the new chassis I had, the second chassis I had for this, so is working. I knew it was when I put it away, but yeah. So there you go. So I'm gonna secure everything that's there already, and then I'm gonna try the board and see if that works. Right, I have the board installed. I've plugged things already. The reason is this monitor Works okay after a while, but it sort of needs to warm up, and you can't probably see it on the picture because of well, the light and everything. But the colors aren't great. I need to calibrate them. I'm suspecting this cab was essentially, I got it as working by whichever way I got it. I can't remember if I bought it or if I rescued it from another job or whatever. The chassis anyway. But it was described as working, but I'm suspecting there was no service or anything like that done on it. So it probably needs new caps. That's okay. We can do that in time. There's a couple of issues as well. I'm not sure how to... I found where the vertical was, but the horizontal width, I'm not quite sure where the setting is for that, where the pot is for that. None of these spots address it. This is a 900. Antarix 900, is it? I'm not sure where the horizontal width is. There is a pot way over there. I'm not going to touch it while it's live. I'm going to look at the manual, but I'm not sure where the horizontal width is it. Or do you just need to tinker with the coil? And does it just need a recap anyway? Good news is the board is working so far. I haven't the sound plugged in yet. But the board is working so far. It looks very blue right now because I just cranked up the blues and did some red that are actually a bit too low. But all the colors are there, so the board is working fine, which is actually great news. What's less great news is there's some issue with the calibration. Well, it's not bad news either. I'm gonna have to just calibrate or move the pot slightly on the pedals, because they don't have the full range, especially the accelerator. The pod probably needs to be kind of shifted slightly by a few, if not a turn, but it's just it's slightly, so it actually just goes from idle to full. Like if I set the service, the test switch, and I go to input test, and I press the accelerator all the way down, it doesn't actually go all the way, well, where it should go, up. So low is just before that, high is after that. It should really be kind of somewhere there, and then it goes as high as it can. If I press this guy on its own, like I can get it to reach just about. So maybe first reduce this guy, but also the pot inside needs a few turns. The brake, I'll have to see where it needs to be. I'm guessing it's probably braking anyway. It should be, I mean, realistically it should be lower than 95, you know. So I'll see where the values should rest. So that's just calibration, I believe. What's gonna need a replacement, I think, is the pod for the steering, because that's all over the place. Yeah, you can't really use a steering for that. Even at rest, I mean, it's not a board issue or a chip issue. It actually rests on a value. I think the pot, it's not even off center. I think the pot is just dirty. I'm going to use some contact cleaner first just to see if that does anything. I'm going to take that apart, but I might just need a new pot here for this assembly. It's actually very crude. For a Sega game, it's probably one of the simplest driving assembly I've ever seen. If you look at an Outrun or even a turbo Outrun, would be a lot more complex, but it's because there's gears as well for the motor. This didn't have a motor, not in its cabaret version anyway, although there is a motor setting for this guy. But turbo Outrun in cabaret mode didn't have a motor. I don't think it did. I have this set to free play, but it needs the switch here is broken. It actually just sheared right off here. I could technically start the game by just connecting and pressing the button, but I'm not going to do that yet. And I believe these should light up at some point. I think there's a light in there, so we're going to have to change the lights there as well. So still a bit of work, some calibration, new pot, and then I'm not gonna touch the monitor for now. I'm gonna try and get it as close to crisp and normal as I can, and we can worry about the monitor some other time. But for now, I'm just happy that things are started. That's a surprise. Well, not the monitor, but actually the monitor was, I thought it had been serviced, or it actually was a bit better than that. If you look closely, like there's some just bleeding and the colors aren't quite right, and you can't see that actually on the photo. Let me clean this. Not much better, but slightly better. But yeah, so the colors aren't quite right. There's a bit of bleeding, so I just, and then the width isn't. I'm not sure how to say that. Anyway, I'll look into it. Not a big deal. If it's a recap, I can replace the caps. The good news and the pleasant surprise is the board is working. I genuinely thought this board was toast, so that's a pleasant surprise. Let's exit the menu. All the tests, the RAM test and all that worked. I'm gonna bring a bit more red in this, but yeah, working. So next, oh yeah, actually the light is working on this. That is great news. Okay, cool. And yeah, so next I think I'm going to, let me think, recalibrate the pedals, order a new pot for driving, and then we can worry about the rest after that. Sweet. All right, so I did some adjustment on the monitor. The picture is much crisper, and I think the colors are okay. There is a small problem with the width, and so the width is set by one of these. Let me grab a light here. The width is set by not a pot, but a coil. Just a width coil, really. Normally, very often on most monitors, you'd have width coils. You see that it's going to be awkward with one hand to hold the light, and you see that right here, that sort of white U shape or horseshoe shape kind of thing. So this is part of a horizontal coil assembly there, and you can twist that a few turns, at least up to like 180 degrees, because then it winds down on itself. So those two coils side by side, you can adjust the width with that. I've gone as far as I could, and there's still some I mean, it's still too wide. So my guess is this cab probably needs a recap anyway. And also, this is sort of as crisp as I can get it. There's probably some adjustment to do as well with the tube, although I don't quite see it. There's no ring adjustment rings on this, so I think this is as far as I'll get it. I think this chassis needs a recap anyway. We've said that before, so we'll see. That's down the line. The other thing I've done is I've adjusted the pots for the pedal and for the top. So there's a calibration menu, like in the input test of the test menu, and essentially you just unscrew these two here and just readjust the pot manually, and then put it back like that. And the manual, if you download the manual online, it goes through what needs to be done to calibrate those controls. I have a printout of the pages here. I'm just trying to, there you go, put that back. So yeah, here it just tells you, like, just take the screw out, lift it slightly from the gear, and then you can just adjust the pot or the gear just to recenter it. It was moving and shifting a lot. The pot was just dirty, so I just had some contact cleaner, just moved it for about 5 minutes, and that cleaned up the pot. The pot is actually nice, and the thing drives. I can actually just start a game. It accelerates properly, it brakes properly, and yeah. If I, there you go, if I stop accelerating, I lose speed quite fast. I can brake, I can accelerate, and we got nice movement on the wheel. The wheel on this game actually feels a bit soft. That was the great thing about Outrun. It had some weight to the wheel assembly, so you felt like you were actually driving a car. This actually feels very, very, very light and soft. It could be due to the spring being worn as well inside. I'll have a look, but I think that's just the way it was. I mean, these cabs were sort of slapped together, really. I don't think there was much thought on what should go in these cabs. And the standard upright is a bit more elaborate inside. This is very bare bone. So yeah, that's interesting. But anyway, so game running. Controls are fine now. Monitor, we'll worry about that with afterwards. I might have another spare chassis somewhere in my my hoard. Let me see. It must be here somewhere. Oh god, I have just a pile of chassis over there. Yeah, I must have one spare one. I'll have to have a look of that same. Otherwise, I do have a couple of 19-inch. This is a VGA. This is the one he gave me, and it's a VGA chassis, which could be handy, but I have no use for it quite now, or I can't foresee having any use for a VGA 19-inch monitor, really. Anyway, so this is I have a spare one here. This was from Poker Machine, but it's a different type of chassis. Same size tube, but I'm not sure what the impedance is, and I don't think it's working anyway to start with. So I'm not gonna even think about replacing that. So I think we'll just do I'll have a route first, see what I have. If not, we'll do a recap on this guy. Next, I need to start thinking cosmetic. I'm gonna need to order some art. For the marquee, maybe reconnect the audio, secure everything back down, and think about what I want to do for the control panel. I think that's going to be our next job. That control panel. Am I going to leave it like that? Will I convert it to turbo Outrun regardless? I think that's what I'm going to do at this stage. Maybe if you're watching this, you know somebody selling a turbo Outrun cabaret control panel. Unlikely. These things are rare and people are hanging on to them. And then we'll put some side artwork. So I think cosmetics is going to be next. That'll give me time to think about strategy for the control panel. And here's Fiona. And we got sound. I just plugged one of the speaker. The other one is working as well. There's just one of the tab is missing there, so I really need to make contact with it. But there you go. It does work, so I'll have to find a way just to put the tab back. Something funny, I'm not sure if it could be the coin mechanism. I'll have to find a way. I think there's a, is it 5 or 6 or maybe 12 volt? I'll have to see it's probably 5. What is coming here? Are we getting power here? Because this is then going or see what we have here. And essentially, the light here isn't working for the coin acceptor window panel. Not a big deal, because essentially I won't be, using that section. It's just nice to have a thing that lights up. But yeah, the amp is working fine, so that's good news. I'm gonna have to tidy that. I think next is gonna get. I need to get into the cosmetics and the side. I'm gonna convert this. Just decide how I'm going to go about it. So yeah, but cool game. It's a bit of the kind of boring side after a while, because it's. You can set the difficulty, but it's very long. It's actually a long game to compete and to compete or run. And yeah, it's Radmobile. Not the best game. It's nice. Radmobile. All right, so I'm working on the chassis for the Radmobile cab. This is the chassis that came with it. So I did first a long visual inspection on this guy, and found I found a lot of visibly bad parts. First, here there's a giant resistor. You can see actually there's a lot of char mark I don't know. Also, I cleaned it because it was just filthy. So I replaced a few things. There's this resistor here. Do I still have it? Did I throw it away? I did. But looked very burned and all that. It tested okay, but this guy gets a lot of heat, so I replaced it with a higher wattage one and lifted it off the board so it doesn't burn the board anymore. Hopefully, because it seems to generate a lot of heat. I suspect it's because something else was bad and this thing was just taking too much load. One of those coils here, you'll forgive me because it's stuff sticking to it because there's a magnet, was just broken, so I replaced that with another one I had of similar value and pinout. This coil was okay. There was a giant resistor here that was coming here that didn't look the healthiest, and when I inspected the top, oh, where is it? Yeah, I mean the top was just broken. It wasn't a resistor anymore. It was just nothing, and as soon as I pulled it out, it just crumbled. So I ordered a new one. This is I can't remember what wattage it is, or what ohm it is. It's very low, high wattage resistor. So it takes a lot of heat. It generates a lot of heat and load. And then I had some cabs that were just visibly dodgy, like not finding any. So I just looked into my cap parts and found that I had a lot of these caps. So I went ahead and just recapped a lot of them. I've marked them in blue, the ones I've changed and tested. Tested this guy, these resistors. So this one I don't have one of the correct value. And then a few here I didn't quite have them, but I'll order a few caps, and for the other monitor as well in time. Right now I just want to see if this thing powers. Tested the diodes, they were all fine. All the fuses are fine. Big resistors here and here are okay. The hot was okay. I won't know about the flyback, but you know, it looks visibly fine. Actually it looks almost brand new. So other than that, I did an inspection at the bottom, and oh my god, was there a lot of burn traces. There was one here that was just tricky to get to, that I repaired, that's linked to this giant resistor here. So that must generate a lot of heat. There was a broken trace here, on the flyback, so I just linked it to the next pad. A lot of chart stuff here that I'm essentially gonna when I'm putting the next resistor, I'll patch it this way. Large broken trace here, another broken trace here. Just lift it off, you know. Here some, I don't know, messing as well. Just burnt chassis really. I reflowed a lot of them. That I found a lot of dry solder on this section. This section, which is the high voltage, was fine. But it just gets the high voltage, or the mains, sorry, conversion, and then all the high voltage is really here. So that's really what gets a lot of heat and high stuff. This here was a mess. Every single one of these had lifted the traces and sort of started burning their way through the board. So I did my best just to try and patch them. I'll triple check that I don't have bridges. It's not my handiest work, but it works. See here, they're probably a bit too close. I'm just I'll be afraid something arcs, something like that. So I'll just right now I just wanted to solidify the traces, link them back. I'll go back and redo some of them, but yeah, that was every single one. All these transistors, these are the color transistors, and you adjust them here. But you got your red. Actually, you can see the color red. Red, this would be for the green, these two, and these two for the blue. So that's that. Don't have any caps for here. So right now I'm just cleaning it up, tidying stuff. Quite a bit of work. As soon as I get this resistor, I put it back in, and it should be ready to go and be tested. See if it works. While I'm waiting for part for the monitor, I have taken the disassembled the chassis, sorry, the control panel, and I'm actually just patching the hole. So there's the hole here for the driving wheel assembly, and whatever this guy is. Actually, I need to make a template of the diameter. Forgot to do that. Oh, I know exactly how I'm going to do that. Anyway, so, and the holes for the 2 buttons. The reason why I'm doing this is because in Turbo Outrun, the wheel is in a different spot. It's right here, which is going to be tricky enough as it is to re-drill here after welding here, but hopefully it'll hold. Fingers crossed. We'll see. I might need to do a better job than that. It's sort of tack welded and sanded. I didn't do the best job, if I'm being honest. Yeah, it's solid. I mean, I tapped it with a hammer and all that, but probably need to do a better filling job than that. That's not great. The button holes don't really matter that much because it's just going to be something here. So I'll fill all that with filler. But oh yeah, and the start button is pretty much the same place, surprisingly. The other thing is there's holes here to accommodate for the control panel, but it's slightly wider than those holes here. I'm not going to bother filling those, or maybe from the back once this is applied. Yeah, maybe I will. But yes, I'm going to have to find a different way. Like, I'll probably have to re-drill new holes, or I don't know, or get brackets. Find maybe brackets that I can, or make them. Sorry, brackets here that I can extend so it matches with those holes here. That's what I might need to do, because let me think. Yeah, I think that's what I need to do. Just find brackets where I can just use this exact assembly, and then just, yeah, that's what okay, talking too much. Don't know what to do here. Maybe I'll just make sure here is one continuous weld. Here doesn't matter, we'll re-drill it. Yeah, let's redo some of that. Oh yeah, this is better. Not ideal, but this is much better. And yeah, nothing's going through here. I ended up redoing a little bit of here, but yeah, it's solid on this side. I've welded on the other side as well, and here doesn't matter too much for now, because we're going to recut somewhere here at some point. So I'll apply, well, I'm going to strip this first. I'll apply all my, I'll re-drill what needs to be drilled, and we'll respray all this, repaint all this, and then apply our artwork. Oh yeah, and I need to find a solution for the control, the lever here. So we'll do that next. All right, an update on the control panel here. So I have my center hole just drill. You know, it's not perfect because I don't actually have the tool for this, so I to drill many holes and just use a grinder just to make it sort of round. It's okay though, it'll be covered by the art, well, most of it by the art, and then we'll have a ring thing. Same thing here for the gear shift. It's yeah, kind of mad I did this, but what can you do? It's done. But at least the all the soldering, the welding, sorry, worked. So that's good, and it's holding. Everything is holding. You can see the. Can you see it? Yes, roughly. Actually, the camera helps. So you can see where I patched here, and so the artwork is aligned. I've drilled all the holes where they need to go. I've kept the original ones here. I'm not sure what I'll use it for, but I've kept them nonetheless. And drill holes here for the gear shift. Gear shift was an interesting one to take apart. It's actually not here. Actually, it's in my room. You take it apart, but you still have the assembly, just going through this, and there's a trick to actually getting the stick itself off that, because there's this thing here is preventing it from passing through, and the handle on the other side, there's actually a button that you need to lift, and it's kind of hard. You just need to use a razor blade just to lift it and pop it, and then you can feed the wire back out. I'll show you later. But yeah, so I'm gonna leave this dry overnight. This is my primer coat, and then we'll do a couple of black coats in the next few days, and then a final clear coat just to seal everything. But yes, slowly taking shape, and it went a lot easier. Hey dude, it went a lot easier than I thought. So that's good news. I was really dreading this. I was like, is this gonna warp? Is this, is the heat gonna be too much for this? Is it even gonna stick? Because I'm not exactly a welder or a metal worker really. So here's not too bad. It's just these corners here. This was a little bit of the Bondo thing that chipped, and here I got over eager with the angle grinder. That's okay though. Again, the idea is that this piece here, which I'll have to order a new art for it, but this piece comes over on top like that, so we won't see anything. It's only this showing, and then the bracket itself goes underneath, and then you bolt everything in place, so it'll be nice and solid. Anyway, let's leave this to dry. I'm gonna clean this wheel assembly, which is filthy, and call it a day. Actually, folks, while I'm at it, I decided to start looking into a Raspberry Pi option. So I've already some setup done on this. I'll probably document this in a separate video, but I got Outrun working on a Raspberry Pi 3. Well, it doesn't take much, but the best option I found was to use advanced MAME, and then I can use those pots with it. Setting up the pots was a lot trickier than I thought. It's actually an easy solution at the end, but finding documentation was an issue. There's not much. Most people that use pot actually use them as sort of a switch. So as soon as you reach a certain threshold, MAME will start incrementing or decrementing the counters for the analog paddle settings. And the problem with that is just it will increase or decrease it until it reaches a min or max value. So there's no control. Like if I set it to this, I can't set it to halfway position. It's either off and then fully on as you start moving in, and it increments at a certain rate, and you can set that rate, which is fine, but it means you can't actually just do half turns, or fine control the car, or do kind of sharp turns like you would normally with a wheel. So there's a setting for that. I found it, so I'll document all that, and maybe in a separate video on how to fully convert a Pi with an APAC, which is an analog to a digital converter, to use these guys. The other trick will be to use the gear shift, because those versions of MAME in RetroPie only recognize kind of switches like that, and in MAME, I think the high and low gear is implemented by, you go into one gear, you go back into the other, but it's the same button. Here it's not the case. It reads if one of the input is low, and then as soon as you shift gear, that button keeps being pressed. So MAME would think that you're pressing that button really fast and kind of keep changing the value. So it's not a state value, it's a switch value. So there's a way to implement that. I'm gonna have to look into that as well, and after that I'll implement the pedal, which are actually wired in pairs, so it's going to be interesting as well. So there's a bit of messing, bit of fiddling, but once we get all that done, then we can use something like this guy, which is the RGB Pi. There's another option where you can wire stuff directly. So I'm going to use that to connect this to a proper CRT monitor. And hopefully we'll have a version of MAME that runs on Raspberry Pi that is independent of of those expensive boards that kind of fail often. All right, so it's time to put the steering assembly back together. However, you can see these are the original holes. There would be one here and one somewhere here or somewhere here. So it doesn't quite align. So these are the new holes, and it's not going to cut it. Initially, I actually thought of putting small brackets that would reach like maybe a little square, but it's not going to be really solid enough. So I've just cut out this thing here that's going to sit on it like that to press it in place. So we're not losing any height from the other side, but I might need to put like washers underneath, so it's going to be spot welded in place here to this unit, and then bolted from the other side, and that should be plenty solid. Fingers crossed. So anyway, yeah, spot welding, it's not going to take a lot, and it's just going to ensure that the thing doesn't move really. I don't want that to rattle. It's going to stay in place, and we can, you know, the pressure then will have it solid against this guy anyway. Well, that's the idea, at least. Right, skipped a few video steps, but essentially this is it. I've spot welded. You can actually see the spot weld on the other side here. This plate to here, I have a washer under here just to match the depth of this guy here, so it doesn't warp too much. And the idea doing a bracket like that was just so everything is more solid. You know, there's no individual little bar that could actually break or snap. Here it's all one piece, so hopefully it'll hold. And even if a weld doesn't hold, this is essentially clamped under between this and this. And the idea of welding it is just so that it doesn't move on its own here like that. And I have the art here starting to come back on the other side. And this is and you know, as you know, I didn't have to re-drill anything. Now everything is matching up, and it's nice and tidy. This is the artwork that people thought was scratched or dodgy, and it just isn't. It's perfect. So I have another piece of well, new old stock dashboard, always handy to have spares. And now I'm just waiting for the art for the shifter. So the switch was actually gone on this, so I had to remove it. Well, disassemble it completely. There's the wire actually goes through the shaft and through this hole here, so you can't take the shaft unless you remove the button, and to remove the button can be tricky. The way I managed is I used a small, very small, well, sharp, not small but sharp a knife, and well, in this case a razor blade, and just wedged it all around under here, and then slowly lifted it, and that's the only way I was able to remove it. And then you can feed the wire back out and back in. Back in is tricky. You just have to take your time, get it, I haven't done it yet, but get it to a line here, and then get tweezers and just pull it out like that. So it's a bit finicky, but it's not unmanageable. And I'm waiting for the art to arrive. So I've ordered new art from Arcade Art Shop, and there's a new piece for this guy. So this is rusted. I don't want to put that back with the shiny artwork here. So we're going to wait for the new one to install that. So I'm going to sand this and just paint it back. Do I need to? Yeah, I just need to remove the rust. And I have artwork for the sides, the marquee, bezel, and what else? I think that's it, and just bits. But yeah, and I think, oh yeah, I have a sign for the wheel as well. So I put the wheel back here. Hopefully it'll fit. If not, I'll try and make it fit as best as I can. Maybe just put a little bit of glue here, and have a nice Outrun wheel cap thing. It's not an Outrun wheel here. I'm okay with that. That's the wheel I have. and it's absolutely fine. But you know, people who know Outrun will notice that the wheel isn't an Outrun wheel. It doesn't matter too much. This is a sort of a hybrid cab of sorts. You know, I've kept the red here instead of a black. And the next question is what to do with this marquee or this bezel, because I don't have a Thunderblade. Is it Thunderblade? Yeah, it is Thunderblade. I have a marquee coming for this cab, but yeah, maybe a display or something like that. I don't know, we'll see. Right, quick update on this chassis. It's been quite a journey of just replacing parts and bits. So I couldn't find the proper resistor for this. So, well, I did find the right value, but I couldn't find the right type that slots in. But I think this will do. I just have insulation tape here just to prevent anything touching, but it should be okay. There was a problem with this guy, TH2, which is a common failure on these chassis, and I found a replacement one from one of these chassis. I have a ton of these, and yeah, whatever. This is a 10-inch chassis. I've already scavenged it for parts, so you know, I don't feel too bad scavenging stuff on this. Change a few caps, whatever I had on hand. You can see I've put blue dots wherever I change them so I can identify them. I've resoldered this guy that was just disconnected. Checked all the horizontal transformer, transistor and the driver. They checked fine. Yeah. Anyway, so this guy, what happens is very often these disconnect or burn out. There's a very, very thin wire that can actually burn out. So that happened in this case, and I fixed that. There was a ton of cold solder joint on the neck board, so I fixed it as much as I could. You can see here it's you know, it looks the way it does, but it seems to be working. There was a burnt resistor here, so I didn't have the right value. It's R140, and it should be 560 ohms, but I just used two resistors of higher wattage as well, just in case. Oh yeah, it's back on. Oh man, this is actually so cool to see it compared to what this was only a week ago. I'm pretty happy. Anyway, it's not all done, but it's getting there. Ah, this is dead cool. Let's keep going. Oh man, this took a minute and a half to set up properly. I had to try so many different versions of RetroPie and versions of MAME. I'm using Advanced MAME 1.4, and it seemed to be the one that actually works. No, very old version of MAME, but it's the one that actually the controls work. Anyway, Raspberry Pi 3, not 4, 3, running Advanced MAME 1.4, and I can go to the service, no problem. I can use the pot here just to navigate as you would with the wheel. It's fully, come on, it's fully analog. The problem is if you set it up in certain way, the pot acts as a switch as soon as it reaches a certain value, and then that value just increases to its maximum. Right now I can set it to whatever I want, and it's just staying there. Same with the pedal. That's a pedal I picked up from that raid, and same with the brake. I'm using a 10k pot, so the value is a bit harder to set, but you know, whatever value I set it at, it stays there. Coin, and these are just button. So I'm using an APAC, which is an analog to digital converter. So it converts whatever input you give it to essentially a joypad. It just reads it as a joypad, or an analog joypad like this, and this does the same thing here. So I can actually have it, yeah, to a middle value. It's a bit harder to do on the controller here. There you go, yeah, working. And with sound, I haven't got it plugged in, but it works as well. So right now I'm using this board, which is a JAMA, so I can actually just tap the RGB just from that straight into a CRT monitor. It's cool, little 10-inch monitor running Outrun. Actually, let's see if I can run this. Well, I know it runs. I just tested it, but it just looks really cool on a 10-inch monitor. Come on. There you go. Exit. And I can credit. Can set my tune. Whatever I want. It doesn't matter here because we're not. And play button. There's my pedal. And you can see the accelerator is working. So it's going to be tricky to do it with one hand, but let's just try this. And there you go. Right, update on the chassis. So I put it in the cab, and I got some high voltage. I got some white screen with some retrace lines, so that means the high voltage is working. Means our power, at least high voltage power, is all working. But there was a problem. There was no colors on screen, no image really, or anything like that. So usually I would suspect the remote board, the neck board first. And indeed, when I looked back in the cab, I could see some smoke coming out. You can see those resistors here are burnt, and these were crazy hot. So I took the board out and just tested those transistors here, and these actually drive the colors. They're in pairs of 2, and you can see there's a wire here for blue, for green, and for red. And essentially, all of them but these 2. And there was more, I don't know where the other one is. All of them, but these 2 tested dead, were just gone. You know, the specs were completely out, and a couple of were shorted. So I decided to replace them all. And these actually that were working were like one was here and the other one was here or something like that. So essentially we weren't getting any colors driven to the neck, and then the resistors started just smoking, probably as a consequence. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't looked at the schematics where these lie in the in the schematics, but anyway, these are 580 ohms, I think. And do you know, when I test them again like that, they test fine. They test, you know, they come up as 580. So I think they just overheated for a small period. But you can see this one is the leg is broken. Anyway, I'm not going to put them back because at least I can rule them out as being a source of problem if it still doesn't work. So I'm waiting for some new ones. The other possibility would be we're missing -5, which I can test. I'll test that afterwards. I was getting the right voltage on the hot, so that wasn't an issue. So we'll test that once we get all the parts back. We'll test that. I've also ordered just a vertical and a horizontal IC. Just in case, because I didn't have any spares, so it'll be handy to have anyway, and in case that was the problem. But I tested a few parts after that. All my caps test okay. Actually, I'm looking at this guy, is a little bit bulgy, isn't it? Yeah, might be worth replacing that guy. I'm not sure I have one. I mean, it's not visibly bulgy. Maybe not. Maybe it's fine. It just looks like it wants to pop. I think it probably needs to be replaced at some point. I think it'd be fine for the sake of testing, but we'll need to do a cap kit anyway on this guy, or finish the cap kit. Anyway, so waiting for the resistors to arrive. Did I say transistors? Resistors to arrive, and then we'll test those. As you can see, I mean, some of them were just, the legs were gone. They just weren't even connected properly, and the legs were still there. So I've redone the traces here as well, as best as I could. Double, triple tested everything. Make sure there's no bridges, but you can see there's a lot of just broken traces, and just had to fix however best I could. It's not the best job, but it'll work. You can see here and here and all here. Nice. I received the artwork for the Turbo Outrun from I'm just flattening the side vinyl here. Some of it is already in the shed. he sent me 2 of these. Thank you very much. I only need one, but I might need another one very soon. So that's actually dead handy. The topper, so it's like the one he did for Crazy Taxi. It's a rather hard and solid plexi, but I'll have to find mounting brackets for that. That's no big deal. And I forgot, I'm not sure if I ordered this. I wanted to, and then I don't remember that I did, but this is really cool. Yeah, if I didn't, and he sent me one, and if I ordered it, it's really cool as well. It's actually see-through, so it's just an oversized panel that would normally be found, I think, beside the sit-down version of Turbo Outrun, and it's printed on plexiglass, so it's see-through, and it should make a really cool light box actually. So I'll work on that. I just thought these were cool. I remember wanting to order one of those, and I'm not sure if I did, but I must have, obviously, unless that's an extra gift from Ollie. If it is, thank you very much. And the side art, which looks beautiful, beautiful work. Once again, he always does, and it's worth waiting for. Thank you very much. And I have the marquee, which is in the shed already, and I couldn't resist. I had to put the bezel on the cab already, so we'll go to the shed and have a look now. All right, so with the artwork here, I was finally able to put the gear shifter back in place, because the other plate, the metal plate, and the artwork is going over that on the other side, and so the control panel is essentially done. Pretty happy, sturdy. I mean, you know, it looks a bit funky here on this side, although it looks all right, to be honest, if I'm fully honest. But here, there you go. Hold on. Let me put this screw back in. So yeah, this is here. So this is actually on top of another plate, and this this is sandwiched between those 2 plates and pressure fit. And I'm not entirely sure where the button is supposed to go. I'm guessing it's on this side. Could be wrong. We'll see. And thing I can do is, it makes sense on this side because you're driving and you just want to press. It'd be weird if it was here. You know, you'd have to press with your pinky. You want to press with your thumb, and this is sort of a right-handed cab, I suppose. But yeah, so this was a bit of work. It's slightly off-centered, just to realign the control panel. I'm actually delighted with the work here I did. I'm not great on metal work or much of anything really, but and this work. So the artwork, so this was new old stock. This is repro. I got this as well off Arcade Art Shop, and it doesn't quite fit. I just had to make it fit, but it's tight, snugly in there, and I think it looks cool here. I'm not sure exactly. I think this was supposed to be on Turbo Outruns. I'm not sure exactly, but it looks right here, if you know what I mean. So between the red matte floor that was black but was supposed to be red, and I kept it red. The new artwork, you can see the bezel is in place. We've got the side art here, and the marquee and the topper. And oh my god, is this cab looking fabulous. Yeah. Right, we're back on the bench. So I put this in after putting all new transistors and new resistors, checked everything on the neck board. At least that was in the color path, and it checks fine. This bulging cap, I'm not sure. I'm going to replace that. It does look like it's bulging. It's not the healthiest. Anyway, it needs a recap at some point. But when I checked, I looked at the voltages. So I was able to get the 12 volt. So long story short, we get voltages to the neck board here, and we got a 12 volt line and a -5, and it goes to here for the 12 volt, and the black one here is the -5. And I was getting a 12 volt, but not a -5. while this was powered. So the -5 is actually handled by this 7905 regulator, and I suspect this is dead. I don't have a spare one, so, and the only way really, I don't think there's a way to test these other than, you know, building a circuit for them. So I'm gonna order a new one. I don't have one on hand, but I'm gonna order a new one and just see if that fixes our problem. We're not getting -5 anyway to the neck board, so first thing to suspect is the -5 regulator, right? I think this is actually going straight from the middle here. Let me see, is there schematics here for this guy? Yeah. Where is this? -5. So our -5 line would be so we got -5 here. So going up over to, yeah, this leg here. So yeah, it's coming directly from the regulator. This is like, there's nothing else in the path. So if a new one doesn't fix that, then we've got a problem coming from the voltage that's coming to the regulator. I assume it's also feeding, is it feeding something else? Probably is anyway. So yeah, that -5 is used for something else anyway. So let's just actually have I got -5 here? There you go, on the schematics. Got a 7905 here, and that -5 is going, what's the path is it taken? Oh, so it's going through a diode, and no, there you go, this is the direct path it's taking. So SP7, and that's going straight into the neck board. So if we've got no -5 coming out of here, I suspect this guy first. If it's not this guy, then we'll have to worry about this path. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that's not it. And has this thing sent me for a loop a few times. So I plugged it back in, and I was still getting the white. I changed the 7905, still getting the white screen. So I thought, okay, well, the board is not getting its whatever supply to the 7905. And that pulse is coming from that little IC over there, which is the horizontal circuit generator thing. And so I changed that, and lo and behold, I do run. The screen takes a minute too, but there you go. We got a picture. I just need to sort the all the picture colors, and you know, it might need a recap, but there you go, we got a screen. I'm just gonna tidy this and get back to you in a second. There you go. I just adjusted the screen as best as I could, you know, while this is running, just so that I know that it's running. I'm gonna let this run for a while, but there you go. This is the original monitor that came with this cab, now all working and fixed, and as you could see, it was in pretty dire condition. I'm so glad I got this working. It looks nice and clean and tidy, and since I've changed quite a bit of stuff, it's stable now, and it's I've recapped a good few of the caps. I'm gonna leave this here, this one here. I might need to change that cap on the neck board, but I'm gonna leave this one here in this cab, knowing that it's the one that came with the cab, and I'll have the spare one that I know is working on hand, just in case. Man, was this a restore and a half. We still need to sort out the board that's going to run in this game. That's looking promising. I think I got everything working. The only thing you can't do with this setup that I have is the shaker, but there's no shaker in there, so I might do a separate video for it, I think, or maybe not. Maybe I need to put this in this one as well. I'll see. I went back to the drawing board and used a straight RetroPie image, and I managed to get the RGB thing working on it. It just needs a few settings in the config file, so I'll put those in the description. But essentially, I'll do a separate video on setting this up from scratch at some point for people who want to do that. But right now I'm just running a power drift on this. It's running fine. The Pi needs a little more than 5 volt really to run stable after doing some research. I've seen people say 5.3, 5.2 seems to be the sweet spot really, for me at least. You can see it's rather a resource-hungry game running on Advanced MAME 1.4 on a Pi 3, and it's running just fine. And I've got... right now I'm using keyboard shortcuts, but I'll have a menu where it'll auto boot to either Power Drift or Turbo Outrun, but let's just launch Turbo Outrun. And I'll also configure the buttons to act as controllers for the image, but it won't be really an issue because it'll auto boot straight to the running the game. But there's Turbo Outrun running. I can credit. I don't have the sound output here because my headphones is somewhere else. Let's start, but I'm not going to playing with one hand. It's going to be tricky. So the shifter works as I explained before. It's just the two buttons are actually set to the same. The two poles on the switch are set to the same input, so it just triggers every time because MAME doesn't support these type of shifters. So I just have an extra switch in on the middle tab or on the ground just to disconnect, so it's connected all the time. If I need to reset this, I press that button and reset the shifter to what it needs to be in between plays, just in case somebody touches this. But while playing, it shouldn't be an issue. You can see the pedal acceleration is working, analog of course, and the well, I can't really do this. Let's go into the service menu. Come on. This is gonna make a very lengthy video altogether, but I'm just gonna try and speed up. But you can see I can actually just set the pot to whatever value like you would a wheel. Same thing with the pedal, and the brakes is the same. I use a 10-pot brake here in this case, so it's a bit harder. It was just for testing. All the controls are working. Coin, start, and the service, and of course the shifter. So when you set the shifter to one position, you know, it'll shift as it should. I don't have the nitro button connected here, but it's I set it up so it works whenever I connect it. So because this is a JAMA output, I just need to make a connector now. I'm just going to make a JAMA connector that connects into the existing wiring there for the cab. I'm going to tidy this on an actual board, so the Pi 3 and the APAC are really what is the meat of this, and then we'll be ready to put this in the cab. It doesn't support the shakers or any output. That's not what the APAC does, but this cab I have, the Turbo Mini cab, doesn't have any outputs. You know, there's no shaker or anything like that, so it works perfect with the setup. If you want to enable the shaker, you probably need something from Multimark, I think, to do something with outputs as well, so that's probably for another video. But for now, that will solve my purpose, and I'll do a separate video on how to set this up properly. Let's go back to our cab. Did I mention that these 10-inch monitors are just dead cute? How cool is that? Anyway, of course the heater comes on as I start recording. Anyway, that's the Raspberry Pi mess. I'll have to tidy all that, obviously, but the controls are connected. I can't use or test the controls. I know they work, but I can't test them because I didn't set this on free play, and right now I can't credit because I don't have a coin thing, but I'll have to put a button just to credit. But there you go, and it's actually, I mean, it's lovely and sharp. Actually, there's a nice picture out of that JAMA RGB Pi adapter, and it boots straight into Outrun, so or Turbo Outrun. So now we have a lovely dedicated cab. The only thing is, this normally flashes to tell you to insert to start, and right now I can't have it flash. What I'll do is I'll get the light and have it just get 5 volt all the time. That way it'll just keep flashing and be done with that. But yeah, there you go. Pretty happy. Alright folks, so this is the end of this project for now. I know this is a little bit abrupt, but the weather has taken a turn. It's got really cold, and so I've taken all the boards out of here while we the weather passes and gets a bit warmer. I think this is going to be the last bit I work on for the rest of the season until things get a little bit warmer. And I will have more videos coming, I think. But there you go. So this is actually all working. I've just taken all the boards out of there, controls, sound, everything, and I'm running a turbo Outrun in this cab. I don't have the room in my arcade at the moment, so I'm going to leave this here and shift some stuff out of there. I think the Kung Fu Master can probably come out. It's actually going to go to my brother. And I think I have another cab that can probably come out of there and go somewhere else. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope this was an interesting video. It was a bit longer than usual, this one, but I just wanted to finish the project and finish the video all in one go. What I'll do, as with all these videos, I'll probably make a longer version of it with all the parts for next month, and release those. I have about 3 of those coming as well on the channel, just long version, like all the parts, so there'll be a couple of hours each, so you can, you know, grab a morning coffee and just chill on a Sunday morning. Anyway folks, thank you for watching. So glad with this cab, so happy to have a turbo Outrun running, and I have a few spare parts as well. I've an idea for a future project, and I have well, I actually have another project coming as well soon. So folks, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.